Hello, 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 everybody. This is going to be the third test of this board. And this is going to be... Let me think for a second. So, before we get started with this test, I'm going to go into details of all the devices. And yes, I finally have some devices hooked up to this panel on the right. But it is not quite as dramatic. As you may see on that last device, I know it looks terrible, but it's okay though. This is Demo Board System Test 3. And we're going to do, for this part of the test, we're going to do an exact replica of my middle school fire drill. In all the hallways and all the exits, they had Edwards EST 270 SPOs, but I was kind of lazy to change that the pull station out. But the pull station that we're using is the Firelight one, not the Silent Night one. The Silent Night one's over here. So, and the smoke detector has not changed either, but these horn strobes are going to be exactly the same as my middle school, because my middle school had Wheelock electronic horn strobes, and in some of the other hallways near the auxiliary gym, the cafeteria, in the disability middle school hallway, where they teach people with disabilities like me, they had Edwards Integrity horn strobes. And all of the system, and there was also an Integrity horn strobe up near the front of the school, but for some reason it was coded on code 3, but the rest of the alarms were on continuous. But all the other integrities, including the disability hallway, all the integrities were on continuous. And there was some type of fire alarm that was outdoors, and I'm not sure what type of alarm that was. It must have been from Mercom or something, but it kind of has the same sound as a smoke detector, but it's an outdoor alarm. And after a couple of years at the school, that horn strobe, one of them, failed, and it's probably been replaced by now. But, so here's the exact replica. Alright, so here we go. In every classroom, we have the Wheelock WMT-24 remote strobe, and we have the Wheelock EH-DL1-WM-24 out in the hallways, which these alarms are awesome, and they don't make these anymore. They were discontinued a while back. And these sound identical to a True Alert, but deeper pitch than that. And in the other hallways, we have the Edwards Integrity horn strobes, and we also have these as well in the classroom. The 2202-3A something. It's the remote strobe of the Integrity horn strobe. And they were in the inside of the classrooms where people learn with disabilities. But what's going to happen is this panel is going to start sounding this one off first, and then a couple seconds later, this panel is going to trip. This panel is going to trip that panel, and the panel is going to sound this Integrity horn strobe off next. That's how the system was set up in the school. They had the electronic horn strobes go off first in the other hallways, and then the Integrities, a couple seconds later, they started sounding. And you'll see what I mean by when I activate the system. Okay. So anyways, enough with the talking. Are you guys ready? Here we go. In 3, 2, 1. Wow, that was very loud. That's what my middle school fire drill was like. Integrity's on continuous, and the electronic horn strobes were on continuous as well. But the integrity horn strobe has a smoother sound than the Wheelock horn strobe does. Because the integrity horn strobe has a smooth, monotonous sound that everybody knows that they heard before. And the Wheelock electronic horn strobe has a very clear, very crisp and clear sound. Alright, before I get too ahead of myself, let's reset the pull station. Yeah, I know the pull station's a little bit loose, but I only have one screw holding it in place. Let me get my Firelight key, if I can find it. I have 5 keys on this chain right here. My other chain has like almost 10 keys. Here we go. Yep, that's basically what my middle school fire drill is like. Okay, let's switch back to the notifier key. Let's put a reset in the system right here. Reset this panel first. And then go to this panel and reset this one too. Okay, reset in progress. And as you may know, these strobes were perfectly in sync because EST integrities also sync up well with EST Genesis horn strobes and strobe-only versions and stuff like that. I'm not sure why it does that, it just does. It could also do it without a sync module, and there goes, the panel just reset. Alright, now for the final part, we're going to test the smoke detector. So we're going to let this go for another 10 or 15 seconds because it is a little bit late at night. So we're going to use my test tool for this smoke detector. So, and I have hearing protection on, so here we go. 3, 2, oh, this test tool is too big. Get a new one. Get another one. Oh, this one doesn't fit either. There we go. This one fits. Okay, we're going to set it off one more time. So here we go. And here we go. 3, 2, 1. Silence. Yep, fire alarm condition's been active. Okay. Since I did not blow smoke in the smoke detector with a can of smoke, I can just simply reset the system to wire detector smoke, which is that right there on zone 2. So anyways, let's go ahead and reset the system. And we'll put a reset in this one as well. There we go. System's fully reset. So anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed this, and I know I'm holding this up with a piece of tape. I know I don't have the proper back box for that remote strobe or the proper trim plate to hold the horizontal screws and stuff like that. I probably... that thing came out of a school gym, by the way. So anyways, hopefully you enjoyed this test. An exact replica of my middle school fire drill. And hopefully I did the replica as best I could. So anyways, that's it. Thanks for watching.